And he's from the Kentucky State Police, and he has a program that actually is cyberbullying, is all about cyberbullying, and our project is all about cyberbullying, so we asked him to come, and he's already presented to the 4th and 5th graders at Big Neil, and tonight we have a parent night, and we want him, and we asked him to come tonight.
Good evening. I won't start this off like we did in the 5th grade. I won't let y'all yell, yay, and tell me how good you're doing. Unless you want to. My name is BJ Eaton. I'm a trooper with the State Police. I'm a public affairs officer at Bowling Green Post, and I am new to this. I took this over in January, 1st of January. So, you have to bear with me. Still ironing out what we need to be doing. But this is an important topic, and this presentation, I feel, after I went through it a couple more times, it actually does appeal more to you all as parents, or as teachers, or as what you can be doing to help your students or your children. So as we get started, first of all, what we're going to do is we're just going to look at basically what it says here: the speed, the value, the massiveness of the internet, this cyber world that we're all living in. So we have, I challenge the kids, and I still go for right. That's a lot of zeros. Oh, go back up. That's a lot of zeros. I think it's 1 trillion. Can someone verify that? That's a lot more. That's a lot of fingers to code. There's 1 trillion web pages. And I would say that since this was done, that has grown exponentially. But 1 trillion web pages, 65,000 iPhone apps, which those grow every single day as well, compared to 10,500 radio stations, 5,500 magazines, and I would say that has declined exponentially because the magazines, my mother used to work in the magazine company, and those were dropping off as this internet age is growing. The print magazines are declining, and then 200 or plus cable network TV networks. So you can see how massive this cyber world is compared to. It says that the number of text messages sent and received every day exceeds the actual population of the planet. So you take text sent and received added up, it will exceed the population of the planet. Facebook, is that? All right. There are over 2.7 billion searches performed on Google each month, and I would say that these are growing. Okay. Facebook tops Google for weekly traffic in the U.S. Facebook is a social website. Okay. If Facebook were its own country, it would be the world's 3rd largest populated. If it was its very own, if you took the Facebook community, it would be the 3rd largest world, and I would assume that that's growing. Every minute, 24 hours of video is uploaded to YouTube. So every 60 seconds, 24 hours, an entire day's worth of video is loaded up every minute. Next. Use the right arrow is the best way to do it. Just you don't. All right. We'll just have to back it up. 69%. This is one of them that kind of strokes me first when I was looking through this. 69% of parents are friends with their own children on Facebook. How do y'all feel about that? Is that stun you? Is that trouble you? That troubles me. One, these guys, this age group, really ain't supposed to be on Facebook yet anyway. That's not a law. Me and Brett can't charge. That's just a thing that Facebook has set up. That's why you still see several kids on there. But for the children that do this or are allowed to do this, Where's the other 31% is what troubles me. Every single child that is on social media, I feel should be friends with or be monitored by your parents. That should be 100% in my book. If your child has Instagram, if they have Snapchat, any of those things, yeah, I felt my son would call me and be like, Dad, parents don't get on Instagram. This one does. And I do that solely to just to keep an eye on. And the way that I look at it is, you all know, where much is given, much is expected, right? We have a responsibility as a parent. My child, I do feel like I gave him as much of his own personal space. Privacy is the word I'm looking for here. I would allow him to have some privacy. But on the opposite side of that, I felt like I had more of a responsibility as a parent to, one, see that he's doing the right thing, and two, to monitor him to make sure that he's not being done wrong. One, I want to make sure I have a responsibility the way that my very young child's raised. And two, to also look after him and make sure that there's not someone bullying or there's not someone as a predator looking after him. So I don't know why that's not 100%. I really don't. A lot of it is because our parents just give it to them. And, I hope I don't offend anybody, but there are a lot of parents that say, well, they deserve their own privacy. You have to be able to monitor, and you have to monitor what your children do. Okay. 1 out of 8 couples were married in the U.S. last year and met online. Next. All right, the unique visitors of ABC, NBC, and CBS every month collectively were 10 million people. They would get on websites and actually view ABC, NBC, and CBS. Next. Compared to the unique visitors to MySpace, YouTube, and Facebook, the leading social media or leaders of the cyber world, compared to 250 million of those. So 25 times more people are viewing these web pages instead of our normal media that we have. Next. And these three, I think that would probably be 7 years now. They've only been around for 7 years. So it is growing. Just to go back to how massive the cyber world is growing. It is rapidly growing. All right, pop quiz. How many text messages does the average American teen send each month? 584, 1150, or 1612? Parents, anybody got a guess?
1612.
1612. All right, flip it. The answer is no. It was a trick question. Next. It's higher than that, 2,272. And I want to think last time we were here, someone questioned that and has checked since, and that's, once again, we're kind of behind the time. That has grown too. So the average teen is sending probably close to 2,500 text messages a month. All right, next. And of course, that is older than your children will be there before you know it. This is just a tidbit. Some kid named Brady James sent 217,000 in March of 2009. That's disturbing. Next. 90% of the 2 billion emails sent every day are spam. The mobile device, they estimate, will be the world's primary connection tool to the internet by the year 2020. I don't know that it'll take that long because you see more people nowadays getting on your phone instead of getting on laptops. They're buying iPads instead of buying laptops or CPUs or stuff like that. So by 2020, they estimate that your phone will be. All right, let's go ahead and do that. Serve smart. How do we navigate in the virtual world today? How do most kids get on and go through, or as parents? Okay. That's text messaging, social networking, talking on Facebook or instant messaging. You got emails, instant message, gaming, downloading music, movies, homework, shopping, and that sort. Okay. Forms, that kind of relates to that. You got text, social networking, blogging, chat rooms, instant messages, online videos, sharing photos, and then face-to-face. You got these programs where you can get on there, and as long as you got the cameras, you can talk back and forth with each other, or FaceTime on your iPhones. All right, cyber communication. Cyber community parallels our physical community. What they mean by that, and what we want to point out to these kids is there are appropriate and inappropriate places that exist in both of those. We teach our children every day that if they walk into the bathroom and the other kids are smoking, what do? We teach our kids to leave. Go tell the teacher. When they get on an inappropriate place on the computer or something pops up, are we teaching them to make sure they go tell the teacher about that? Close it out. Don't go any further. That cyber world, in an essence, is no different than our actual physical world that we're teaching them and trying to raise our kids. But now we have to warn them about the dangers that are on our computers and our cyber world just as well as we do our physical world. And then what that does is that opens up with that communication, just like we communicate face-to-face. Communication on the computer, it opens up the same problems that we have when we talk face-to-face. Just like your child may be a victim to bullying in the hallway, where a kid would come up and push him against the locker room and take his lunch money. The very same bullying, there is an opportunity for that. Anywhere there's communication, that they can be bullied online as well. Next. The definition they've got here of cyberbullying is when someone repeatedly harasses, mistreats, makes fun of another person online or while using a cell phone or any other electronic device. Sending mean, vulgar, threatening messages, posting sensitive, private information about another person, pretending to be someone else in order to make that person look bad, or intentionally excluding someone from an online group. It goes into cyber stalking. Once an adult is involved, that it's no longer bullying. It actually does step into cyber stalking. This is Megan Meyer. I haven't done a whole lot of research on it. Basically, this girl was bullied from a very young age, and it actually drove her to take her own life. She got so depressed to a point where she took her own life, and they haven't. I don't know that they've indicted anyone yet, but I think they've traced it back. It was actually another child. It was a neighbor, a grown person down the street who had kids in common. All right, why do we have bullies? Why do we have bullying online or in person? One, anger, revenge, trying to get back at someone, frustration, entertainment. I think it's fun. Maybe because they're bored, too many tech toys. Overwhelmingly, they say that it's just a joke. Kind of like, guys, have you ever seen anything in your lifetime gives you a look? What's our first response? I was just kidding.
I'm sorry.
Just kidding. That's kind of what, when you track down these bullying scenarios, when you actually confront the bully, I was just kidding. I was just joking. And to them, it may actually feel like it is a joke. But that's one of the reasons why we see this a lot. They're encouraged by their friends. It's anonymous. And we're going to look at that, promote our own social status, or maybe a misunderstood email. Go ahead and do the next one. I'll touch on that. Can you come back here to the microphone? We're going to just watch this real quick. I don't know if you guys see that.
Today I'm going to talk about
I have just a little technical. Stand by.
Good job.
Okay, Lindsay, you're up.
Today I'm going to talk about Patty. Patty's best characteristics, she's stupid and ugly. Everything she does is ugly. Watch her stuff her face. Look at her, greasy hair, dirty fingernails. It makes me want to vomit. Her dad doesn't work, they have no money. That's why she wears that nasty pink sweater. Everyone hates her, even the teachers, and they're supposed to like everyone. Get a life, Patty. Thank you.
The point of that is, if you wouldn't say it to their face, why would you type it? Why would you send a text? Why would you say it in the chat room? And I don't really understand the reason why children tend to do it online when they wouldn't. I don't know any kids that I run that would actually get up in front of a talent show and say that about someone else. But type and send it in a text just as quick as anything. I don't understand that. I don't know. I guess it's doing it behind a computer or doing it on a phone adds a little bit of what's the word? Making it kind of anonymous. Which opens up why, again, you need to be monitoring what your children are doing on their cell phones, monitoring what they're receiving. That's one agreement that I have with my son. Even when he would pop up and be surprised, hey, you got a new follower, your dad's watching on Instagram. I would also, I knew his passwords to every device he had. His cell phone, his iPad, his computer. I knew those, and he knew that I knew those. I wouldn't go into his room when he was at school and be searching through trying to figure out what he's doing. Go in there while he's there. Say, hey, hand it over, let's look, see if, what your phone's like. And he understood and knew. I'm not naive enough to know that he may have not deleted some stuff, but he understood and I understood. All right, good. Who are the victims and the perpetrators of cyberbullying? I will try to read these numbers without getting tongue-tied. In a recent study of grades 6 through 8, girls were twice as likely as boys to be both victims and the perpetrator of cyberbullying. So that study showed girls are meaner. Y'all guys wanted to know. Girls are meaner. Students who had been cyberbullied relatively frequently, and then within the last couple of months, 62% said they were cyberbullied by another student at school, and 46 of those said they were cyberbullied by someone who they thought were their friend. 55% said they didn't know who the bully was. Of the students who admitted actually being the bully or cyberbullying someone else, 60% said they had cyberbullied another student at school, and 56% said that it was a friend of theirs. You got to question why are they calling them their friend, or what's going on here, or what we're allowing, what our children are allowing to have to be done to them without standing up or without telling someone. Go on past this one. All right, here we go. This is getting into the meat of it. This is what we want our children to understand. And this also, in turn, is a two-way street between the individual. First and foremost, what to do if you are cyberbullied. We want them, and I challenged your children when I was here the other day. Tell a trusted adult. And who do we want first and foremost that trusted adult to be? That's your mother and your father. Always emphasize and re-emphasize. Make sure your children know that they can come to you and talk to you about anything. That they can show you anything and everything. And also reiterate to them that if there is something that they're getting, there's text and stuff that they're getting, make sure they understand that they are not going to be in trouble if they are a victim of this. But make sure they always know that they can talk to you. Teachers as well, I emphasize that with the teachers. Make sure the students always know that if there's something they need to do, something that they need to tell them, they can tell them. We all have an awesome responsibility. And we are given that. We didn't earn it at all. It's given to us. When you become a parent, you are automatically your children's heroes. Teachers, whether you know it or not, or whether they act like it all the time, when those students come in, you are by default already their heroes. Most of those students look up to you. Me and Brett, we are automatically, I'm talking majority here, we are the majority of those, we are these children's heroes. Unless we do something to take that away from them. We have to understand that and know that they look up to us. And if we reiterate that to them, if we make sure they know that they can come to us about anything, they'll come to us. So always let them know that trusted part, a lot of that relies on us. We have to make sure they know that they can trust us. So when something is happening, they will feel comfortable to come tell us. All right? Don't open, well, that, sorry, no. Don't, this is what we tell the children. One, tell a trusted adult, whether that be us, parents, teachers. Don't open messages from people that you don't know. Make sure that you always emphasize that with your children. If they get a text or if they get a Facebook request from someone they don't know, do not accept it. If you don't know them, don't accept it. That person may just be trying to rack up their friend list, but at the same time, it may be someone there. It may be a perpetrator trying to talk to your kid, or it may be another kid using that as an avenue to bully your children. So do not let them accept or open messages from someone they don't know. Don't open or read messages from a cyberbully. If you know you have someone that has been giving you bullying messages, children, just don't open them. Don't open them. Don't read them. But keep them. All right? Don't react to the bully. That's a lot of times what they're looking for. They're poking you in the chest in the hallway looking for some type of reaction. They're poking you in the chest, wanting your lunch money. Hopefully that everybody else sees that they're bigger. They're looking for a reaction. So don't react to those texts. And that's what we're teaching them. That's what we're trying to tell them. As it is at school, tell a trusted adult at the school. And there it goes back to don't erase the messages or images. If it goes on and it persists, or if it actually gets into something that would be criminal, to where you would actually have to report it to the police, it's a lot easier for us to go ahead and start working on that and get the ball rolling immediately if we can actually look at the text or the messages that they have. If they delete them and it becomes a criminal investigation, we can get them, but it's a lot of hassle. I don't want to say hassle because it will do that. It's just a lot more paperwork. You have to do subpoenas, you have to get signed by the court, and the cell phone companies are becoming less and less user-friendly with us, but we can get those, but we emphasize try to not to delete those. It gives us a lot more that we can investigate with. Block the bullying. Once it gets, that will eliminate the problem more than not. If you have someone that's just making fun of you, picking on you, we explain to the children, just block them. Block them on your friends list. Block them on your unfriended. Report cyberbullying to your internet service provider. There is a place to report people on Facebook, Instagram. And those, they're not, Facebook didn't, they don't want everybody just going crazy wild on their pages. They want to keep it civil, that way that people will still use it. So if you report stuff, if you report someone that you feel is being bullied, they will look into it and may pull their user from them to where they are not allowed to use it anymore. So report that to them. If you are threatened, inform the police. If it gets to where it's not just making fun of or poking or always harassing, if there is an actual threat of harm or danger, make sure you report that to the police. Because that's when it steps over into the bounds of not just being picked on or not just bullying, but then it becomes a police matter. Okay, next. Prevent any cyberbullying. Now this is kind of just in addition to the other. Don't give out your private information such as your password pins. So as they get older and they start getting their own cell phone, their own iPads and things of that sort, make sure they don't pass that out. Don't let them, if someone else grabs their phone, make sure they don't tell them what their password is. That's hopefully between your children and you. Hopefully you are the only other one that has that password. Use etiquette. The fancy little word. Basically, a lot of the times in investigations that we do, a lot of times when you go back at it, when you start investigating these things, it's kind of hard to get to the point to where it looks like it's just one-sided. A lot of times it starts with back and forth, and then one child may stop and then it will be continued by the other. But normally what you want to do is just treat others as you want them to treat you, and hopefully that it'll work off. That's just one extra piece of advice. Ignore anyone who gets angry online, and when something doesn't seem right, just leave the site or the chat. Drill that into your children. If they open something up, if they're in a chat room and they're talking, if it just doesn't seem right, X out of it. Get out of it. Leave it alone. Okay, next. Going past that. All right. How to prevent being a cyberbully. Now, this is information that we give out. Hopefully, none of you all have this problem. But trying to refrain from being a bully. Don't email when you're angry. Don't put questionable photos of yourself on social network sites. Don't email with friends and try to target someone for entertainment. Don't forward an email that someone sent as a private message. Don't post questionable pictures of others on your social network. And then once again, like we spoke about earlier, if you wouldn't say it face to face, why would you send it on a text? And this kind of touches on something else that I challenged the kids to the other day. Not only as someone who may be cyberbullied as a victim, we want them to know that they can stand up for themselves and tell someone about it, do something about it, make sure someone knows. But at the same time, I also challenge the students to, if you see cyberbullying or if you see bullying in general going on, to stand up against it. That bully will continue as long as he has a crowd, as long as he has someone watching him. But if he has the entire classroom or the entire ring of friends stand up and say, that's not right, you shouldn't be doing that, they're less likely to continue with it once they see that they're not getting attention from them. So, not only stand up and make sure you let someone know if you see someone that is being cyberbullied, not only stand up for them and make sure someone, a trusted adult, knows, but to also, with that, also comes along with, don't be that group of person that the bully is entertaining and just go along with it. That's what we challenge them, not to be that group that is, even though you're not the one making fun, but if you're in that circle laughing, you're a participant. You're actually feeding that bullying that's going on. So we've challenged the students to know that they can tell someone, not only as the victim, but also as someone who knows that it's going on. Okay, next. If you can go ahead and show this one.
Yeah, click on that one.
Just click the, yeah.
Once you post your image online, you can't take it back. Anyone can see it. Family, friends, anyone. Remember, think before you post.
We show that just so the children understand that what they're putting out there online, everybody sees it. So if they feel like they're maybe just bullying one person and it's one-on-one, once it reaches the internet, or once you post a picture on the internet, it's out there. It's out there for good. And as far as the investigative side of that as well, just because it's deleted off phones, just because it's deleted off computers or iPads or whatever it is, those stuff can be retrieved. As we've got guys that work in our computer crimes division up in Frankfurt that are a whole lot smarter than me, Brett, and know how to, well, I know they're smarter than I am. I don't know about Brett. I won't put you in that circle, I'm sorry. But I know they're a lot smarter than me and know how to get on there and retrieve those things. So it kind of goes back into that cyberbullying too. Once those messages are deleted, we can still retrieve those. but it's the same as, it goes the same for any of those devices. Just because those are put in the deleted file and those are gone and you can't get to them, they're still on the hard drive somewhere to be retrieved. All right, warning signs that your child practice will be for you all, indicators that you can look for. If they're not quite coming to you yet and telling you what's going on, you can start to ask questions or you can start to see these things. Unexpectedly stops using their computer. Appears nervous or jumping when they check an instant message or a text or an email. Appears uneasy about going to school or outside in general. Appears to be angry, depressed, or frustrated after using the computer. Becomes abnormally withdrawn from usual friends and family or family members. Look for those warning signs. If you see those, ask questions. Now, it may not be, if you all see these signs as parents, something is wrong. Whether it's cyberbullying or not, if you start seeing these things, you know something's wrong, so you need to be investigating that. And make sure you let them know that it goes back to that trust part. Make sure that they know that you can be trusted. And we all hopefully, as parents, that's not an issue. But with this cyberbullying, with these things, with these examples that we had of Megan Meyer, they felt like they had no idea that anything was wrong. So always, I can't emphasize it enough, but make sure those lines of communication with your children are as open as they can be, so that we can head some of this stuff off. Okay, next. Warning signs that your child may be a cyberbully. Quickly switches screens and closes the programs when you walk by. Uses the computer at all hours of the night. Gets usually upset if he or she can't use the computer. Laughing excessively while using the computer. Avoids discussions about what they're doing on the computer. Or maybe using multiple online accounts, or maybe actually having an account on their name. Now those are all indicators, yes, of cyberbullying, but at the same time, as a parent, if you see those things happening, y'all know something's up, right? Walked in the room and that you hear a click, and then all of a sudden they're looking at their desktop. Son, why are you staring at your desktop with nothing on? That's because they just closed something out that they felt like they didn't want you to see. So, not only look for them and maybe seeking to see if they may be picking on somebody, but if you see this happening, understand that those are indicators of something that's just not right. We kind of talked about it as interdiction on the interstate. It used to be called drug interdiction. We would put people out on the interstate, go out there, and they trained us to look for indicators. How nervous people are acting, or if you pull them over, what to look for inside the vehicle. And a lot of times what you would get is you would see all these indicators. And you'd go back to the car and call your buddy and like, I've got the mother load, this is it. We're gonna find a bunch of drugs. And then you would get up there, and then in the back seat you'd find a bunch of maybe forged checks while they were going around by stuff. And what I mean by that is an indicator is just an indicator of a type of criminal behavior. So now we've reworded that instead of saying we're going out and doing drug interdiction, we do criminal interdiction. Those indicators are the same no matter what the criminal activity may be going on. A lot of times our human behaviors or our human indicators that we give off are the same for multiple things. So just be aware of these. Be aware of the ones before this, them as a victim, because the victim's indicators are the same. They may be giving off certain indicators to you already know that something's just not right. So, okay. Don't be reluctant to report cyberbullying. Don't believe that some bullying behaviors off here online happens to just everyone to some degree, that it's no big deal, or just ignore it. Bullies often think that everyone does it, and victims think, and they think that the victim should just get over it. This kind of touches on what we talked about before. It is a big deal for our children to go around in fear of doing anything. So make sure that they understand that they can report it to us. Okay. These are some of the guidelines for when it becomes a criminal matter. Threats of violence, extortion, which means, hey, do this, give me some money or else I'm going to post your pictures online, or I'm going to tell somebody you did so-and-so, so you didn't give me some money. That's extortion. obscene or harassing phone calls or text messages, harassment, stalking, or hate crimes, or any type of child pornography. If any of these are any kind of indicators, that's for the teachers as well. Once it gets to a point when you see this, that's when it becomes a criminal matter, and that's when it needs to be reported to the police. This just touches on when you should tell at school, and I just emphasize telling anyone who's a trusted adult. But as far as about just at school or whether or not you should tell a parent, if you know, if you're thinking what you're getting, should you report it to the school when you go in on Monday? Basically, what this says is if anything would happen on school property or during the school hours, or if it would relate to, it definitely needs to be reported to the school. Now, if what your son may be getting, that also you feel that there's multiple other victims, maybe some other kids at school, that also should be reported to the school. And then if it becomes a criminal matter at that time, they'll call us. Next. Almost there. Cyberbullying can be life-changing. The long-term effects of it, if it continues over and over and over and those children don't report it to you, what you get is you get poor academic performance, anxiety and loss of interest in socializing, aggression or violence toward other people, depression or suicidal thoughts. There are several reported cases, and there are a couple at the end of this. We're not going to go into those, but you guys can, you can pull up cyberbullying, you can Google it, or this is actually from Kentucky State Schools. They've got several of these, but you can go on there and see story after story where the child let it continue without letting anyone know about it, to the point to where they started getting all these signs, and it got to the point where they couldn't stand it anymore. And what we want is we want them, go back to the slide. Okay, now let's go. Next. These are the couple, if you just want to remember those names. Ryan Patrick Allen. All right, this is, the presentation I had, this was the newest version of it online, and this is new, but when I went back and was thinking about my points, I wanted to reiterate to you this little thing here. It's called Lean, it's a pledge, but it kind of, it points to those points that I wanted to make. Lean on others. In my school, when I need help, and allow others to lean on me, that just goes to that point to where we want to make sure our students or our children understand that there is someone that they can tell. Make sure they understand that they can talk to you all about anything, because when it gets to that point to where those last signs that we just looked at, that becoming very aggressive towards others, social anxiety, those suicidal thoughts, those come after a prolonged, very prolonged of it happening to them. So what we want to do is we want to head it off before it gets to that point. And the best way to head that off is to make sure our children know that they can tell us and that they can talk about it. Excel at treating other students and staff how I want to be treated. That kind of goes back to that etiquette. And then achieve relationships with adults in my school so I can feel safe. And then notice and report when another needs help. And tell an adult, send an online tip, or use the bully tip box. I don't know if y'all have one of those here, but you have a website. Absolutely, the children will be talking about their website in just a minute. Hold on, but these are anxious and ready to go. But I want to close with, I think it's 3 main things. One, I challenge your children, and I want to challenge you all as well. Make sure that relationship to where they know they can talk to you. To head it off, to put a stop to it, has to be reported. So we want them to know that they can talk to you all. And I know you all too, as parents, know that you want your children. But just make sure you're always emphasizing it. Make sure you're always telling them that you want them to be able to talk to you about anything. And then also I challenge these students as friends of each other to make sure that you know that you can stand up for each other. Make sure that you can, if you see a friend that is in danger, make sure that you report that to another trusted adult. Even if the victim I don't want to call it nerve, but even if the victim isn't to where they want to tell yet, if a friend will see it or someone else will spot it beforehand and will stand up against it, then